Hi, I'm Gina Cagle on the Interview Show, here today with women's empowerment coach and licensed acupuncturist, Tina Gharamani Singh. Tina, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Gina.
Absolutely. So, women's empowerment coach, what do you do and what do you love about what you do?
Oh my goodness. So what is a women's empowerment coach? Let's start with that question first. A lot of
Right.
people ask me that and they don't really understand what that means. So first of all, I love coaching women through any stage of their life. It could be anything from a big transition in their life. They're having a baby, they're going through a divorce. A lot of things that happened during COVID, like shifts and all of that stuff. So that's the women's piece. The empowerment piece is my coaching is very somatic. What I mean by somatic is that we do deep work where we go into the body, we go into the energy of the body. I'm also an energy healer. And I help each woman be able to see herself from the outside. So that is a lot of what we call mindfulness, reflection, and it's a lot of helping you love yourself where you're at, which is not an
Mm,
easy thing to do, usually, especially if you're in a challenge situation. So that's the women's empowerment piece. Um,
I,
yes, sorry.
I think that's so hard for so many women. Um, Loving yourself right where you are. We tend to set up these ideas of I'll love myself when I'm 10 pounds lighter, or when I
Yeah.
have that job that I've been working toward, or when I'm the perfect parent. But loving ourselves right where we are now, and also leaving the door open for where we want it to go. That's
Mm,
powerful.
exactly. That's the key. It's helping you as a woman to be able to embody the energy of exactly where you are in your life at that very moment. So it's actually a lot of finding presence with your
Mm,
energy, even if it's in a situation that doesn't feel good or it's absolutely uncomfortable. Your soul is going through it for a reason.
right. Right. And so then how do you take those findings and learnings and understandings and evolve forward? Is that part of your process?
Yeah, that's a big part of my process. So, how I help a woman go from one point to be able to go to the point that she wants to go is about holding loving space. So, I have to be compassionate and loving and encouraging in that time with that woman to be able to give her the confidence. And I would say there's another word besides confidence, the I'm feeling like the bravery, the
Mm,
bravery to be
courage.
able to, the courage to be able to sit and look at her stuff, her dark stuff, what we call the shadow process in coaching. It's to see that those layers that don't feel good, that
Mm,
that are raw, that are vulnerable, that are gross to them, or whatever you want to call it, the baggage, the
mm,
trauma, and to just honestly to be able to find the light from those experiences. That's a big part of my coaching. It's a soul process, but it's also integrated with the mind and the body because the soul is guiding the mind and the body. That's where my coaching is a little different than most coaching. I'm not just working on the physicality. It's where your soul is guiding you through.
right. That's a really good point. So you mentioned you're an energy healer.
Right.
So you bring in, tell me about how you bring that into your coaching approach.
I love that question. So how I bring that into my coaching approach, I used to do Reiki. Well, I still am doing Reiki, but I was a theta practitioner, theta healing practitioner for about 14 years.
Mm,
And I started at a young age, at age 4, being able to feel and sense energy. So what we call an empathic individual. I'm an empathic soul. I can walk into a room and not know the person and know exactly what the person's feeling almost always. And that's a
mm,
gift as a healer. It can be very overwhelming as a child. Overwhelming when somebody's not having, their emotions heavy or intense. But it's been my greatest gift. So when I do the energy work in the coaching, what I ask the client to do with me is with the breath. We start with the breath, and then I have them visualize the different energy pathways. For instance, we can start with like the crown chakra or the third eye, wherever they feel blocked. So it could be like solar plexus, which is like under the diaphragm. A lot of people find like they feel stuck in certain areas, which are called energies in the body. And so what we do is we just do breathing. We breathe into that area, and I call it a energy healing meditation. That's a lot of what my coaching sessions entail, because we're going into different parts of the body, the emotional body and the physical body. And we are helping the client to move their own energy. I'm not doing it for them. I'm just simply guiding them. So I don't know if that kind of answered your question.
It does. That's beautiful. I love the approach of guiding a person to deliver their own healing. That's powerful. And that's something
Yeah.
I would imagine they can continue to use going forward when they discover their own blocks in the future.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the biggest thing for me. I love being an educator, and I love being able to teach them how to really be able to do this for themselves, because I'm not a hand holder. I'm not an enabler. And it's a big thing for me as an empowered healer to do. I want them to be able to do it on themselves and their family members, with permission, of course. Um, we don't do anything without permission on individuals. That's the biggest thing as an energy healer. You have to ask permission. Yeah.
Well, and that's part of your empowerment too. There's so many people don't understand or realize or accept that we're all healers. We all have the ability to heal ourselves.
Yes.
We just, as a human race, many of us have lost that knowledge. And
Right.
so they need people like you to help bring them back to that inner wisdom so that they are then empowered to go forward with new confidence, as you said, and courage.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. That's it. It's helping them connect to their own divinity. Their own divinity has all the answers. It's just a facilitation from me to the client.
Right. And so what are the moments that excite you in your work that get you all fired up and ready for another day?
Oh my goodness. Oh, there's so many. I love to see my client transform literally in front of my eyes. So I could see how they begin in point A, being full of grief. Maybe they lost a loved one, or they're having major challenges in their life, financial, health. It could be motherhood, homeschooling, COVID, whatever. And I can see them literally energetically shift and have a whole different perspective after the session from the time that we began.
Mm.
And that gives me the greatest joy. It's like I am able to see them move through that rite of passage. I almost feel like every coaching session with me is like helping them move through different rites of passage. So I'm a women's empowerment coach, but that also means there's different rites of passage. There's going into adulthood, there's marriage, there's pregnancy, right? There's postpartum. All of these are rites of passage. And even transition and divorce and trauma and grief healing, those are rites of passage too.
Right. Right. And so many of these rites of passage um, can be uncomfortable, can be difficult, especially when you're trying to move through them
Yeah.
alone. So how powerful is it to have someone like you beside them, moving through it with them?
Yeah.
It's wonderful to have friends. It's wonderful to have people in your life that you can, confide in and share these things with. But there's something about having somebody who's just there for you,
Yeah.
showing up for you so that you can be in your space and going inside with the guidance of somebody with an outside perspective who's just there for you. That's powerful.
Exactly. It's like creating self-care with creating sacred space.
Yeah.
And with every session I begin with prayer. I'm not religious. I mean, I have my own faith, but I don't impose it on anyone. I'm a woman of God. I believe in God and I work with the light of God. So I help open up sacred space for the individual always in the beginning of the session. Maybe they call in their angels, maybe they call in their safe people or whatever they want to call it. It's their connection to source. And that's the space that needs to be carved out for their healing to transpire. It can't happen if we don't create that sacred space together and call in God, you know?
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. So I see you are in a bedroom,
Yes.
bunk bed and
My
toys.
daughter's bedroom.
How how is motherhood, how does motherhood inform or contribute to your approach as a coach?
I love that question. It is such a big part of me becoming a women's coach. Motherhood has it's turned my life inside out in so many good ways. It's broken my ego in the way that I am not in control. I
Hmm.
am never in control. When you become a mother, you realize very, very soon you are never in control. Everything's unpredictable. Anything can happen at the drop of a dime, and you have to literally adapt. And so, adaptability in motherhood and learning to flow with the not so good days has been a huge piece of resilience in my coaching. So I think that's the greatest gift my children have given me is adaptability. And also to know that one child is never like the other. One client is never like the other.
Right.
So that's been a huge thing for me watching my children. I literally have to parent them differently. So it's been like great for my versatility of coaching. I coach everyone differently because everyone has a different personality, right? You can't you can't have it be cookie cutter.
Right. Different
Yeah.
personality, different goals, different paths,
Yeah.
backgrounds, and yeah,
Exactly. Mhm.
beautiful. And we mentioned earlier you're an acupuncturist. Tell us a
Yes.
little bit about that.
Yeah, so I started in the field of acupuncture in personally as a patient of acupuncture in 2005. And I was suffering from severe depression, so many hormonal menstrual problems as a woman, which I thought were normal. I thought
Mm-hmm.
every woman has to have an 8-day period and not go to work for 2 days. And I know, awful. And so I went to see an acupuncturist because I heard that it helps with the energy and hormones. And after almost 6 months of seeing her, I felt like my depression lifted by 80%. And I felt like something shifted in my soul. I felt it, by the way, acupuncture is not just a physical medicine. Most people don't know this. It's also a spiritual modality. It is a access point, which I realized later, almost 10 years later, when I became an acupuncturist. It's an access point for your energetic body to shift. So you can do that with Reiki. You can do that with whatever, pranic healing, XYZ, emotion code. But acupuncture was the modality for me that helped me really get on that spiritual acceleration path. And so I became an acupuncturist and I loved it so much because I saw that number one, it was natural healing and it was healing at the root cause. I could not stand behind Western medicine. I wanted to be a OBGYN. I love women's health and I am a fertility acupuncturist. I'm a women's health acupuncturist, but it just didn't vibrate with my essence of natural medicine. So I knew I had to follow a holistic path because I knew that it worked because it worked for me. And I just saw so much healing while I was in school, acupuncture school. I mean, I literally saw a woman in a wheelchair when I was an intern come into the acupuncture clinic in a wheelchair and then miraculously walk out of the clinic
Wow.
not having to be in her wheelchair.
Wow.
Now that is what we call a miracle healing. That doesn't happen all the time, but that option is accessible to those who are ready. And I was like, there's something about this medicine. So I think that's my journey of acupuncture. It's changed into becoming a spiritual modality for me. Whereas I think a lot of the mainstream people are still seeing it as just, oh, I go because I have pain, right? Or I go because I have infertility or whatever it is. But it's actually much deeper than that.
Right. And so you have a joint practice with your husband.
Correct.
And we featured the two of you in the November-December 2020 issue of Radiance Magazine.
Right.
So interviews, viewers, if you haven't picked up your copy yet or hopped online yet, do that. Go to radiancemm.com and you can look up Tina or her husband Mukunda. There are two beautiful articles, one written by Tina and one written by Mukunda, that would be marvelous for you to read. And so, Tina, I'd love to hear about how your partnership with Mukunda contributes to your approach to coaching.
That's a wonderful question. Having your life partner contribute to my coaching. Okay. So when you get married, there is always the uncomfortable phase of what I call the first year to 2 years. The honeymoon period is over, and all of the cobwebs and all of the, shall I say, baggage of your past will always show up in your marriage or an intimate relationship. So my marriage with my husband was founded very much on our connection to God. We're both very spiritual. And when we got married, I realized there was just so much fighting the first 2 years. Mind you, I was pregnant my first year of marriage. I don't recommend it. So that was a lot of fun. And I realized after almost 8 years of marriage with him, crossing into the 10th year of marriage, I had so much work to do on myself that was showing up in the marriage and had nothing to do with him. It was my mother wounds. It was my deep childhood pain of being an empath and misunderstood. I have engineer parents, just not understanding me and my gifts. And I realized, wow, I have a lot of work to do on myself. So that was the gift of marriage, was the awareness of how much work I had to do, what we call inner work. Inner work, it's inner reflective work. It's deep, deep, deep work. Nobody like your partner can do it for you. And so when I started doing that deep inner work, which came through from the catalyst of my marriage, all of a sudden it threw me into this coaching world. I was like, whoa, what is this inner work showing me? And I realized this is what I want to do. This is what I'm destined to do, to help women to do. And then I became a certified coach. So had it not come through in my marriage and the awareness that my husband gave me that, dude, you need to work on yourself. This is not my shit. Excuse me. I'm sorry if I used a bad word, but I'm just a very real woman. I'm an East Coaster. I can't help it.
Tina,
it just comes out. It flies out. I'm from Boston. It's still always going to be a part of me. Anyways, so that baggage was like the gift of, here you go. You need to work on yourself. And my husband did not enable me. Thank God, because he's a man that works on himself. He's a healer. And he showed me the light. He shed light on what needed to be worked on. Then I went and I started working on myself, and all of these somatic layers showed up in the coaching. I had to actually coach for almost 50 hours with a buddy coach in my certification. And then I was able to be certified so I could guide people. So, it was a very beautiful, difficult, but amazing process that I went on. So the marriage was the biggest gift towards inner work.
Wow. I've seen you two together. It's a wonderful, beautiful thing to watch.
No, thank you.
And so what would you like people who are considering working with you to know about you, or about the process, or about what they can expect?
Sure. So, if anyone works with me, the first thing I do is I like to do an assessment of a free session with them just to see if we're an energetic fit. Because, a lot of times just the energy may jive or it may not. But I like to kind of see, what does the client need the most support on? So I'll ask them, what do you need the most support on? And I let them know from the get-go, I am not just going to help you make money. I am not helping you with material needs. I'm helping you first and foremost on a soul level. I am a soul coach. So what does that mean? That means that means we need to ask your soul level in meditation, guided meditation, what does your soul need? Where are you in your life purpose journey? Where do you want to go? This issue with your quote husband or your kid is only a small part of the story. So where is that story leading you? Where are the blocks that you have keeping you from your soul purpose? So I would say that's the biggest thing with me. I'm a soulful coach. I'm a heart-centered coach. I don't do military breakdown and then build you up. I don't work like that. I don't believe in that. I don't think that helps people. For me personally, it never worked for me. I'm a sensitive soul, right? So we work on a soul level. And then after that, yes, I can help you with your business. I have a marketing major from college. I can help you with the relationship issue with your husband, or how about, your mother suddenly passed away and you're dealing with this grief you never dealt with, all of that. But we have to get clear on where you are in your soul path. And actually, Gina, a lot of people don't even understand that that's what's happening with them.
Right.
They think it's the issue of today.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not really the issue. It's a deeper issue.
I might come to you with thinking, oh, I need to work on this. But then through the meditation and through your guidance, I realized, oh, it's actually some unmet need from childhood or some trauma from a job I had or something like that.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Because energy from the past takes up space. It's just how energy works. We're all energy. So when we hold those patternings, it literally takes up space and creates blocks in the emotional body. And then unfortunately, a lot of times in the physical body. Things don't just magically, physically manifest. They always start with a thought, an energy, then it becomes an emotional, energetic vibration. Mm-hmm. And then it becomes something actually physical, because we're all energy. So if you look at everything from that perspective, it kind of makes sense. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah.
So you have a special offer for interviews viewers. What is it?
Yeah. So I start with, number one, you'll always get an initial free 60-minute complimentary soul coaching with me. It's just a check-in, where you're at, what you need support on. We do a meditation and then I give you feedback. It's really, really nice. And I type notes and I send them to you, and it's just a gift for you. But what I want to offer the viewers today that watch this is I want to offer 50% off my second session. So a follow-up session with me, which is a really, really big savings. And what you can gain from that is deep clarity for what the next steps are and exactly what you need support with. So it's called road mapping. I'm a little bit A-type in the way I work. I like to kind of get real clear on what the outline of what you want to work on is. And on the second session, we can create that outline together, and we can type it up, make it fancy, and just see where we're going to go with working together. So that's what I want to offer to the viewers. It's the 50% off, and they just get started, just get started somewhere.
Right. Why not? Half off, dive in, get started.
Yeah.
And Tina, I love that you have like this flowy feminine energy side, and then you're like A-type, on and off. You've got
It's
both.
the
That's so
yeah,
cool.
it's the yin and the yang. The yang is the masculine side, which I was raised with. My mother's very like masculine. She wears the pants. She was the breadwinner, such. Like I have a lot of strong women in my family who are warriors. I mean, I was raised in a war, but then yeah, I have this soft, gentle, feminine side that I have learned to embrace. I never knew how to be soft. Isn't
Mm,
that interesting? It's like
right.
it wasn't cool or not cool. It's almost like it wasn't something on my radar till I did the deep work that I am a feminine woman. Where is this soft woman? Like she's somewhere in there. So I'm so glad you brought that up because I feel like society is it's made us to be, yes, tough as women, but we're also really supposed to be what we call yin. Yin is soft, gentle, motherly, right?
Nurturing. Right. Right.
And that's not being like weak,
Right.
you know?
Right. It's powerful.
Yeah, it is powerful. So it's not 1950s. It's what, kids want love and softness. They don't want harshness,
Mhm.
but so do our clients.
Right. Right.
Sometimes we need to be harsh, but it's not always.
Well, firm,
Firm.
clear. Yeah, maybe not harsh,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
clear,
Yeah.
confident, firm. Yeah. But Tina,
Boundaries.
thank you so much for your time. This has been a marvelous exploration into you and your approach. Thank you for joining us on the show.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so thrilled. I love what you guys have done with the magazine. It's just a beautiful, beautiful magazine, and I attest it much to Scott, my dear friend, and you, Gina. And your platform is incredible. So for the viewers watching, I really hope you go and get a copy of Radiance and just be able to share it with your friends. It's such a high vibrational magazine, and it's heart centered. So I really, really appreciate being on this platform with you, Gina, and just your time. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Tina. And everyone, thank you for watching. I'm Gina Cagle. This is Interviews.